This is GamesAtWork.biz, your weekly podcast about gaming, technology, and play. Your hosts are Michael Martin, Andy Piper, and Michael Rowe. The thoughts and opinions on this podcast are those of the hosts and guests alone and are not the opinions of any organization which they have been, are, or may be affiliated with. This is episode 539. Wikipedia is 25? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Michael Rowe here, and you know what? That means we have at least one mandatory Michael on this show, and to round out the show, we have our one mandatory Englishman, Ian Hughes. Welcome.
Hi, Michael. I'm back. You can't get rid of me, and I'm glad to represent the country and talk tech and games and stuff and cool things.
Cool. Well, it's going to be a fun episode today. Both of the other co-hosts are off gallivanting somewhere. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm sure it's very important. But I find it very important to talk tech with my friends on a Friday afternoon. So this is good stuff. So we have a lot of things in the show. We're going to start off on a little bit of a meh note. You and I both saw this set of articles this week, and given our history in this space, I figured it was appropriate for us to talk about it. Meta and all the machinations going around with their studios and the reality labs and metaverse for work and all that. Let's say what it is. They're closing some studios, doing layoffs in their wearables division, in their reality labs division, and also discontinuing the metaverse for work. Ian, what do you think? Because I know you've got both the Quest. You probably have used metaverse for work, maybe with some of the work that you used to do.
I looked at it,
and you have the glasses.
Yes,
so
I do.
It seems like a shift to glasses.
There is a shift to glasses, and obviously this is terrible for people that have lost their jobs.
Yes,
but equally, it's not Meta's not necessarily been as successful as it wanted in the whole with Horizon, for instance, for the kind of online space, because the content's not necessarily ideal for everyone, and they're up against people like Roblox and Fortnite and a generational shift, and you've got 10 billion Roblox accounts and many more monthly active users than Horizon gets, and these are companies and they have shareholders, and it's not about whether we think it's all a good idea or not. They'll cut things at the drop of a hat, won't they? And that's what they've done here, and it's all very brutal, and we've seen the same things across the games industry. There's loads of shutdowns and layoffs and stuff, and it's not good. But it will rally round because this stuff's going to happen anyway.
What I really hope that happens is, when any type shift like this, where a very large employer lays off a large amount of people in an area where there's a passionate following, some of them go off and start something.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping they do that, because as much as I love my Vision Pro, and we'll get to it in a second, competition in the space of VR headsets and VR environments is important. It's what pushes it forward.
Yes, and the games industry is renowned for, say, these shifts and these layoffs and people going off and founding something else. And as you said, out of that, some really unusual new things turn up, and the spirit is there because there's a great boundless creativity amongst many of the people involved in here, and unfortunately they'd been sucked into a big corporate monster. So hopefully they'll find their way, and we're all there to support them.
And speaking of interesting things, last weekend in the US, Apple and the Los Angeles Lakers, who are a National Basketball Association team with some famous players. I am not an NBA fan. But they did their first of a whole series of matches that are streaming live on the Vision Pro. Now, that is phenomenal technically. I watched the replay because you could get it later as a replay. And I didn't watch the whole thing because, again, NBA basketball, who cares? If you're a listener who cares about NBA basketball, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. But it was a phenomenal experience. So let me describe it a little bit. The Apple has set up 4 cameras in the arena that they're playing at in Los Angeles. There's one at the halfway point on the basketball court, basically right at the judges' desks. And it's set at probably waist high. There are 2, one each kind of slightly off to the side and behind the basket where they dump the ball in. Like my technical basketball terms.
Brilliant.
And those are the rim, the backboards are clear, right? And so you can see the players as they're going up and taking the shot or jostling underneath the backboard, etc. And then the 4th one is in the again at the center of the court, but up at the top in the last row of the stadium. And so they have directors directing the production in real time. And most of the time, because NBA basketball tends to be, and this is one of the reasons I don't like it, very fast pace. Take the ball, go to the other end, jump it in the thing, grab the ball, go to the other end, dump it in the thing. That's the game, right?
Sounds like basketball.
Yeah. But they do at times show it from the judges' table and sometimes from the top, so you can kind of see the overall play of the game and also see just how huge these athletes are. I mean, they are tall guys, let me tell you. And the other thing that they do, this is a 180 arc video, and so you actually can see when you're looking at half court, you can look to the right and left and kind of see the play go back and forth as if you were sitting in supposedly the best seats in the house. And the other thing that they did is both pregame and halftime, they had a talking head kind of with the stuff going on behind them. They showed you the halftime events. And it just was as if you were at the ball game, because they didn't really, and it probably because I didn't watch the whole thing, but I didn't see any breaks for commercials, and the stuff that usually happens when they go to a timeout, they would pull back to the midfield camera so you could watch what's happening on the court while the team's off talking, because all kinds of stuff happens. I never realized that, for lack of a better term, I'll call them guards, came out and kind of guard around the basket. There was a little halftime show going on during every break. And, certain coaches would peel off to the side and talk amongst themselves while other coaches were talking to the players. It was pretty fascinating as an event.
That's very cool. So it was showing the 180 video. Was it doing any kind of little extra data or little? They always show it as showing the little pitch and where all the players are.
They did have
little dots and stuff.
At the pregame time. They did have some nice 3D rendered overlays with information about the players and stuff, like you see at a normal soccer or other sports match, right? When they're saying this is the lineup and blah blah blah. They didn't do like the stuff that I think you used to do at Wimbledon, right? Where you would like render data into a graphical format into some kind of data source.
Well, because there's been kind of demos of the Formula One things where you get the view from the car, but then you get the map and where all the cars are sort of projected on the bottom of it, across and out at you. We'll get there. I mean, this is a huge move, isn't it? And NBA is a big franchise, and as you said, the fact that they didn't have didn't have any commercials. I'm sure they'll get over that.
Oh, I'm sure.
And you'll end
This
up
is
having
a
lots of
commercial
commercials.
enterprise, after all.
Yeah, but that's impressive. And yeah, let's have some more of that.
Yeah. Well,
With some more sports and some more.
speaking of more
more
of
interesting
that,
sports.
speaking of more of that, I saw in my feed this week. So I'm a subscriber to Apple Arcade, and I saw in my feed this week that Retrocade is coming to Apple Arcade, including a Vision Pro version, where you can put the entire, arcade cabinet in your room and play the cabinet.
That's very cool. I mean, yes.
Yes.
This is what we want, isn't
Yes.
it? And aside from, I mean, the Retrocade thing, there's a lot of retro platforms and things to pull in. There's some stuff on the Xbox and stuff like that. But particularly with those arcade cabinets are iconic themselves, aren't they? And it, for those of us that were there at the time, it's like,
I remember feeding tons of quarters into some of those cabinets.
and I guess we're the ones buying this kit, so it's good to pander that. But obviously that means some other. As I said before, this is about the content and the thing that's interesting and the thing that draws you. And we'd crowd into arcades and stand around and watch other people play stuff before we had things like Twitch and stuff. You would watch somebody who was particularly good at Space Invaders or Defender or Pac-Man, and
if you wanted to play next, you would put your quarter right up on the cabinet.
Absolutely,
right?
That was the way.
You're marking I'm next. So
I mean, it's and the fact that it's in kind of the Apple Arcade subscription is particularly good.
Well, the really cool thing about it is, and of course, I'm just waiting for one of my friends to pick up a Vision Pro. Any of them, anyone, Bueller. Because as you mentioned, standing around and watching the other player play in the arcade was a big thing, and you have this share play environment with the Vision Pro, where they've added now where multiple people in the same physical space can come together with their avatars in the virtual space, even though you could do that remotely, like we did playing Demio. Yeah. So I think it's another really cool example of what could happen, and I don't know if you follow MacBreak Weekly or any of those shows, but one of the former, and I can say now, former hosts of that had given a session at Macworld years ago on editing in Final Cut Studio that I took, and I got to know him. His name was Alex Lindsay, who was also founder of 090 Media and a show called Office Hours, where every single morning since the start of the pandemic way back in 2020 and continuing until, I guess it's still going on, they did weekly 2 or 3 hour sessions on Zoom learning about content creation tools, video editing, etc. He is now at Apple, just moved there beginning of January to focus on the partner ecosystem creating 3D content.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see what's coming out of that. I actually dropped him a note saying, this is probably some of the best news I could hear about the Vision Pro and the rest of Apple's ecosystem with 3D content. So I'm really excited to see what's going to go on there. But
we just now need them to move it on to have some more cross-platform stuff.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be locked into a particular expensive bit of hardware, should it? It should work across things, just like.
But he did go to work for Apple.
Phones and iPads.
He did go to work for Apple, and
it's all good, and it's got 3D in it, so it'll go the right way.
Yeah. So speaking of other quick hits on gaming, another game that I know Michael Martin and I talk about a lot is Civilizations. Civilization 7 came out 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
And I kept looking at it, and I kept putting it off, and and I was also glad to find out that that'll be launching next month on Apple Arcade, so included in the subscription. So really excited about that.
That's amazing. I mean, it's
because that to me that is an A-list game, right?
Yes.
And yep, they're a couple of years behind. They tend to be, but hey, it's there.
Yeah, and that's the fact that it's been designed or had the overlays for it, so it works with touch and stuff, and it's not just a weird port of a mouse system is really good to hear. And obviously they've put Civilization on things like the Switch and things like that before, so it's hit those mobile platform. It's kind of mobile, isn't it? Smaller platforms. so to be there on your iPad or on, I got a feeling the iPhone, for playing on the iPhone, might be tricky because it is very intricate, isn't it? But we'll have a look. The thing is, you can try it and see, can't we?
Yeah, unfortunately, that one is not coming to the Vision Pro, which is a shame.
Well, not yet. I mean, can't you run it as a...
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some games you can run it as an iPad app, but they have to enable that. And this one doesn't specifically say that that's enabled, so I'm assuming it won't be there. Well, speaking of, again, games, Andy had put this one in the show rundown for us. There was I think it was originally a Kickstarter, a device called Board. And it is a physical tablet-like device designed for playing board games in person. You know, we used to have those. They were called boards.
Board games.
Yeah. and they usually had a board of some sort that you laid out on the table. This one, it comes with 12 free games, and I guess that's $700 for a board. It better have at least a couple of free games, but designed to allow people to kind of do both tablet gaming and board gaming at the same time. Had you heard of this when it was a Kickstarter?
I thought I had, but then also I'm mixing it in my head with some other very similar things that are there to help you do board games, whether it's... Was it Tilt? Yeah, Tilt AR.
Yeah, that one I remember.
And, well, I've got that, so I need to dig that out. It's in my office somewhere. That was very good. And then there were things using physical devices on top of iPads.
Right.
So there was a range of kids games. It was cars, I think. So you had Lightning McQueen. You actually had a little Lightning McQueen car that you put on your iPad and drove around on it. So you had that tactile thing, because that's what you want with the board game, isn't it? It's the picking the cards up, and it's feeling the presence of the dice as you roll it. And I know we rolled dice in Demio, but it's not the same as rolling dice. Yeah. It makes a sound, you get a feel, and that again, we're back down to content. Are they really good board games, or is it just going to be playing the basics?
Well, that was interesting. There was one game that they show in a video demo that when I first saw it, I was like, oh, cool. They made ice hockey. Remember air hockey? Sorry, air hockey. But it's actually like a mix of air hockey and asteroids with little pieces that you put on the board, and the pieces seem to be shooting at the other player, but the rest of the mechanic kind of looks like air hockey.
Yeah. I mean, the fact it has pieces, I mean, that's the important bit.
It's a step up.
It's just how creative people... But then if you have this board and you have loads of different pieces because you want a game with dragons in it and Conan and stuff like that, or you want a car racing game, then you end up with a pile of miniatures that you're going to need to do there, and you don't know where they fit because you haven't got the box anymore. So there is that. It does save space. We've got loads of board games downstairs, loads of things, and I keep getting them on Kickstarter, and weird games and wonderful games. And it is, I think that it's like vinyl coming back, isn't it? Having the box and having the pieces. I really shouldn't be saying this. I'm a techie, but it's just you know,
that tactile.
Maybe the compute stuff is there maybe for support on weird rules and things like that when you have to look it up on YouTube. But equally, I mean, I'd be up for having a play on it, so I may take a deeper look at that one.
Well, we've talked a lot about, you know, having the content, which really gets into the idea of creating the content. And this past week, I think it was this past week, Apple announced as they put it, a inspiring collection of creative apps. So they've done a bundle of a lot of existing apps, but they finally exposed what they're doing with. I want to say, was it Procreate? What was the graphics tool that they bought?
Oh, I can't remember.
I'm going blank, but I'm actually going to click through the link.
It's not. Well, I don't think it's Procreate, is it?
No, it's not Procreate. Pixelmator.
It's the other one.
Pixelmator.
That's the one. That's the one. Got a P in it.
Yeah. And what they've done is kind of gone into the same type of bundle approach as Adobe with their Creative Suite, with Affinity with their Creative Suite, and others. I guess DaVinci has. And what's really interesting about this, I actually have up on the shelf behind me that you can't see due to my background,
and it's a podcast.
And it's an audio podcast, a box that is probably about a 1/4 meter wide, or about, say, 13, 14 inches wide, about 8 to 9 inches tall, and about 8 to 9 inches deep, which is the box that Final Cut Studio came in when you bought it. And I think when I bought it, it was probably $2,000.
Yeah.
And then
bit of kit.
They came out with a smaller version, which was even more powerful. And that box was probably about the size of a box of 5 1/4 inch floppy disks, for those people who remember that technology. So probably about 5 1/4 inch square. And then, gosh, I can't even remember how long ago it was when Final Cut became a $300 download on the App Store, right?
Yeah.
So I think the first one was $2,000, the second one was like $600, and then we went down to $300. And so what they've done is they've bundled Final Cut, Pixelmator, Logic Pro, which I also paid for, which I think originally was like $700 or $600, right? Motion, which I also bought, Compressor, which I also bought, and MainStage, something I have never bought. Which MainStage is for like real-time mixing of stuff, if I remember correctly. And they've turned that into a package for $130 US, $129 US a year, $12.99 a month. And it includes all the iPad versions too.
Yeah.
And it includes additional content for what I call iWork, right? So Keynote, Pages, Numbers. So your spreadsheet, your text processing, and your presentation tool. I think this is really fascinating. What I really want to see is what they've added into all those hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of apps that I've already paid for that would make me want to turn it into a subscription. Because right now, I have them all.
You do, I don't, but I will do now because that's very much on my list of things to do. So to get that many tools to do the sort of things that we all want to do, and also you say that kind of tie in, so it's pulling more Gen AI stuff in, I guess, into the normal everyday work tools is really intriguing. And now I'm retired, I'm doing lots of local generation of AI video and stuff like that, as I try and work out how to tell the stories I want to tell. I want to do, there's more writing to do, and obviously, yes, the third book, but I'm learning to draw so I can kind of work out how to do characters and manga and stuff. And so having any of those tools available to just for a relatively inexpensive, given the cost of each individual one, a relatively inexpensive thing. It's the same price as a Runway subscription for a year. So it's it's exciting, and I didn't know. I didn't realise until I saw the show notes that that was happening. I admit, having said I pay attention to everything, I'd missed that one somewhere.
So you mentioned something just kind of in passing in that I think some of our listeners might be wondering about. A third book, is there a series that you've been working on?
Yes, yes. So Reconfigure and Context were two books that I wrote before it's now a decade ago.
Yeah.
That sounds awful, doesn't it? But there's always been a third one in my head, and the second one finished. Not as a spoiler, they all finish on some sort of cliffhanger.
Well, of course.
And so I'm building and researching that. No, not in any particular rush. I've not got a deadline. It's not like I have a publisher shouting at me or anything.
But you're not going to be George R.R. Martin, are you?
No, not like that.
Well,
so a lot of the things that I'm doing, and the way that the creative tools work now, and the way AI works now, and the way I'm learning to draw things and learn to play instruments and stuff is all actually research as well as beneficial for my brain. So that's a change for how my lead character Roisin, may have to do things. That's a spoiler alert.
We kicked off this show with an incredible title. But by the way, yes, I am very excited to hear that book 3 might actually occur. We kicked off this show with a title all about Wikipedia. And before the show, you and I were talking about this article, and Wikipedia turned 25 this month, and they've created a really cool little site at wikipedia25.org, which lets you kind of go through a timeline with all kinds of interesting factoids, stories, videos, and UI changes that they've done in the 25 years. And you and I were talking, and you said, oh, yeah, this reminds me when I did a show about their 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
15 years ago, obviously. Now, it's very easy to do the maths. That's the good thing about 25. But on the Cool Stuff Collective, which was a Saturday morning kids TV show in the UK, where I was resident super geek, I'd turn up and had a little slot to talk about interesting things, hopefully interesting things, where we did 3D printing and all sorts of, it was for 7 to 11-year-olds, but so many of those now in the workplace, I should imagine.
Think about that for a second.
yeah, that's crazy. But one of the things was it was Wikipedia's 10th anniversary, so the production team said, well, that's not very interesting, it's just a website of facts and encyclopedias, why a kid's going to be interested? And I said, well, you can build your own. I mean, people can contribute, and it'd be great if we could persuade someone to start contributing, even if it's only one person becomes a Wikipedian. So and during the course of the live show, the live transmission show, the show wasn't live, but during the course of the show, we watched some stuff appear where kids were trying to build pages about the other presenters, because I had a Wikipedia page, and part of the joke was that the main presenter, didn't have one, and he was going, why haven't I got one? And we had our monkey character who was causing mischief as well, and kids started to create links between Si's page and Monkey's page, and saying Monkey's cooler than Si and stuff. It all got knocked out very quickly by the bots and by the Wikipedians, because it obviously wasn't the real thing, you know, and wasn't detailed enough. But some kids were doing it.
That's
and
awesome.
Who knows? They may be Wikipedians now. So if they are, brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting, and part of that at Wikipedia25.org page talks about the challenges that they've had over time, and how they approach them, whether it was blackout pages or whatever, and now with kind of almost circling back to the beginning, right, with the massive scraping by AI tools to kind of suck in and reuse their content. It's the challenge to how do you keep it created by Wikipedians, not by AI tools spitting out content, and flooding the zone, so to speak, with garbage or crap. So really, really cool to see this. Really exciting and really interesting. As someone who doesn't have a Wikipedia page, no,
Yet. Yeah, so I'm sure somebody would create one.
well, they would have to disambiguate me with a couple other famous Michael Rowe's.
Well, I'm sure they'll do that.
But no, it's just fascinating. So, anything interesting tech-wise that you see coming up, or that you saw recently that our listeners might be tantalized with?
Well, I did allude to the fact I'm doing some local generation of videos. So just this month, I think, and I know we just go, not more AI, here we go again. But because I had a bit of time, I thought I'll have a look how this stuff works. And I installed something called Comfy UI, which is a workflow doodah thing. And it had a template for lots and lots of different types of AI generation stuff. I'm sure it does other things as well, but it installed without me having to bother faffing around doing anything. All the dependencies and stuff, all the Python and all that malarkey. It installed LTX 2.0 or -2 or whatever, which is all over the internet and all over the various social media things, and it's a local model to generate proper video, 4 to 10 seconds, depending on how much memory you've got, but with sound and with lip sync. It's just, wow. It's you can kind of see that the next set of models will be the things that we've currently got on Kling and on Runway and stuff. That there's that kind of, there's commercial side of stuff with some big players that you pay subscription, and you have to pay for the cloud and pay for everything, all their processing power. And then there's the, I'll just run some open source stuff, and that it is amazing. It's much quicker and cheaper, obviously, or it's not quicker, it's cheaper, much cheaper, but it's not sitting there waiting 24 hours like we used to for a 3D render back in the olden days. A sort of,
I was about to go to that exact example, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh no, this takes ages, and then you realise it's only actually taken 10 minutes. Yeah. So, 10 minutes for a few seconds of video. Yes, it's going to take a long while to string that all together into a movie, but you're kind of doing rushes of stuff, and you're working out what you might want to do, and it's storyboarding by another means. And
just think about talks. Just think about Toy Story when it first came out. How long did it take them to render a couple of seconds of video?
Absolutely. Right? And it's also, I notice it's I don't know what other people are going to do with it, but I did get my lead character to swear. So Roisin swore. She doesn't necessarily swear much in books, but there was an exasperation I wanted, so I just got her to do an F-bomb, just to see if it would go, oh, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to use that kind of language. It didn't care.
It's your local environment, so it depends on what guardrails are set up.
You never know whether they've put them in the model, in the guardrail, but they haven't, which is good and bad, obviously, because people will be generating all sorts of things they shouldn't be, possibly. So, but it was lovely to see her swear and slam a laptop shut. Awesome. And it was like, oh, here we go.
Well. Knowing you, I assume at some point there'll be a nice blog post of your configuration and how you got this all working.
Yes, possibly. But I mean, it'll be a very quick blog post because it'll just say install Comfy UI, and just off you go. Yeah. There's many more of these things, but it was interesting delving down into one of the nodes though, because it just looks, you get, it's a typical workflow thing now with some wires and stuff like that and some little blocks. And I thought, oh, right, well, it's all sort of black boxed where it's going off and doing this stuff. And I happened to click on the main one and went down to the next level and just got this massive page of wiring and things and parameters and stuff. And it was like, yeah, that's complicated. That's going to take a little while to figure out what that means. So I'll leave it as a little box to let it render stuff for me.
But the thing that I find the most interesting right now, with all this change, this really fast change, and we could spend time talking about like Claude, but I'm not going to today, but is the fact that there's a generation of developers and IT specialists and techies and geeks who understand what all that means and what it was built on, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a generation that it's purely a black box.
Yeah.
And that happens with every kind of technology shift.
It does.
Right? My dad used to work on his car and do everything on it. In college, I diddled it. Now it's like it's a black box. I don't care. Just make it work. Right?
Yeah.
And we see that same thing with this. And I'm wondering if that black box, well, there's tons of sci-fi books about this, I'm sure. If not knowing what's in that black box will be problematic in the future.
It may be problematic. It may just spark some interesting things that we hadn't thought of as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be dystopian here, but because obviously there's enough going on in the world to be dystopian about.
Yes.
But just when you generate something and you go, oh, that's weird. Like I generated a Shakespearean actor doing the Hamlet soliloquy. I just put some of the words in, see whether it bothered putting any emotion into it or just read it out.
Yeah.
And it did put some emotion in. It's different to a proper person, but it was holding a skull, because I had said holding a skull, but for some reason it had a great big unicorn horn on it. But no idea. I don't know where that came from, but it was like, I wonder if there's a magic unicorn version of Shakespeare. Maybe it's Midsummer Night's Dream has fallen into this one, and can we smash those plays together and see what happens? So it's things like that I'm willing to go with the serendipity of weird things.
Awesome. Well, Ian, thank you for joining us this week on gamesatwork.biz. I think we'd like to hear everybody else's opinion on what's cool lately for them. If so, drop us a note over at our website at, imagine this, gamesatwork.biz.
Gamesatwork.biz.
It matches the show. Or you can find us over on Mastodon. And we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
See ya. You've been listening to gamesatwork.biz, the podcast about gaming technology and play. We are part of the Blueberry Podcasting Network, and would like to thank the band Random Encounters for their song, Big Blue. You can follow us at our website at gamesatwork.biz.